stretch class for you. So if you want to find yourself somewhere on your mat, I have 2 mats to help protect the knees, and I have a strap and a blanket as well. Also blocks to assist. So if you want to bring any of your things to assist you, have them handy. But we'll start in seated. So finding yourself comfortably seated. I'm going to use the blanket to prop up the hips. And then rest your hands, either palms down. Bring more of a sense of grounding into you and your body, or palms up if you're wanting to invite in some energy. So we'll do some cleansing breaths just to kind of find ourselves balance and center, bringing everything back home. So take a deep inhale, filling up, and pause, and then exhale, sigh it out, relax the jaw. We'll do that a few more times. Inhale, fill up. Pause, exhale, release, sigh it out. So one last time, the deepest inhale you've taken maybe today. Inhale, pulling everything up. And then hold, exhale, sigh it out. So with our hands down by our side, we take an inhale, sweep the arms up. So take up space when you do this. Stretch through the fingers as well. Gaze up if you're comfortable, and then let your palms come right center down, center of the body. Inhale, open up, receive that breath. Exhale, right back down. And close your eyes if you're comfortable. We'll do this a few more times. Inhaling, big inhale, and then let that come down into the exhale. One more time. And take one hand onto the mat, the other arm up overhead. Try to keep, in this case I'm going to the right, try to keep your left hip grounded down. So bring that arm as close to the ear as you can. Gaze can be down, but keep it neutral. But feel like you're reaching towards something. So just bring some fluidity into your body, into that stretch. Relax the jaw, breathe here. And then switch sides. The sides of the body, we don't get a lot of movement. Tends to be really stiff. So it takes a little bit of this buoyancy back and forth that opens up that space a little bit more. And then we'll flow back and forth between that. Inhaling and exhaling, pushing off. One more time, each side. And come back up to center. Let your shoulders come up to your ears and down your back. So soften a bend in the elbow and start this rotation up and back and around. Work with that range of motion. And how wide you want to take that. How big of a circle, how much you're feeling an ability to release. And then pause, and then go in the other direction. Still feel that inhale and that exhale. We're going to work on the neck and start on the right side. So I'm going to bring my left hand down on the ground. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, left ear to left shoulder. So I let that hand kind of support me down in this. Now chin down. I really feel a need for release. Maybe chin up. Fill up with an inhale, exhale, release. So it's like you can imagine that exhale is just kind of water falling down, softening that side of the body. And slowly come back up. Let the shoulders come up to your ears, down your back. Let that right hand rest down. Inhale. Tall spine, tall neck. Exhale. Right ear to right shoulder. Find that space. You can let go. Breathe into. And slowly come back up. Bring your chin in towards your chest. And then slowly bring your gaze up. Do this a few times, going extra slow. Back towards center. So left to right. Twisting. Just watch your jaw. Notice if you start holding and tightening, clenching in the jaw. And back towards center. But just do that through the remainder of the practice. Back off if it's too restricting, if you're holding everything too tight. So let's bring ourselves onto our hands and knees and do a few cat-cow. Again, pad out that mat if you're wanting extra cushion. So find your hands, wrists stacked over your shoulders, knees stacked over your hips, about hip distance apart. Tuck the toes, drop a softened belly. So you're going to soften in the elbows as well. You start to tilt the gaze up and the chin up as you drop. Let a belly swoop down, tailbone up. And bring the tops of the feet down. Bring the belly button in towards the spine. Slowly round up the back. Chin towards chest. So we'll do that back and forth a few times. Tuck the toes, drop a softened belly on an inhale. Exhale, tuck the chin, draw the belly button in, tops of the feet flat. One more time. Big inhale as you soften and sway in. Really good exhale, draw in. Round. And then if you can slowly come up and bring your right foot forward, make sure your knee is not going over your toes. So this is a bit of a half splits pose. So if you can scoot that left knee back a little bit, if not, Just depends on how wide in the hips you can be. And then let your hips sink down. So we'll do a bit of a flow with this as well. And I like to tuck the back toes. Anytime I can get an arch stretch, it feels good for the feet. So hands down by your side. On an inhale, like you're sweeping up the air, bring your arms forward and up. As you exhale, reverse palms, push away. Bring those right toes up and flow your arms back. Keep a soft bend in the knees as much as you need to. So go back and forth with this. Kind of really waking up the hamstrings and the hips. One more time. Inhaling up. Exhale, sway that back. Come back up. Put a bend back in that knee. I'm going to use the blocks as a prop. Don't necessarily need them if you'd like to use them. I'm going to keep my right hand on my right hip for a moment. And sweep the left arm up and over towards the right. Like you're reaching again. Keep that arm by the ear as best you can. Release that down. Bring the toes up. And I'm keeping a softened bend in the knee because I have really tight hamstrings. So leaning over that leg. Inhale. Exhale, and a hinge, 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 and my hands are going to catch the block. So I'm going to try to keep it flat back as best I can in this stretch towards the toes. Softening into any space with my breath. Two more breaths here. Put a bend back in that knee. So I'm going to bring the blocks to the front and I'm going to transition into a side straddle. I'm coming up off of that left knee, turning to the long side of my mat. And I'm just going to go ahead and go side to side, like in a runner's lunge. Working out of that knee that I had pressed into the ground. I'm going to use the blocks again, placing my hands on the blocks. They're about a foot in front of me. They're a little bit off the mat. So I lean a little bit forward so it's flat back. I feel this in the back and the hamstrings, you will as well. Your hands are on the ground. Keep that left hand on the block and sweep that right arm up towards the sky. Gaze can just be straight, head down or up, whatever's comfortable with your neck. Keep that channel of breath flowing. Feel that nice stretch in the inner left thigh. Switch hands. Inhale, sweep up. So I'm trying to breathe through any resistance and tightness and not holding on. That's all. Even if it's a little space, it really feels good afterwards. Release the hands. Bring the hands on the hips. So strong core, belly button in towards spine, bringing yourself upright. Hip, heel, toe, the feet about hip distance apart. Inhale. Inhale, sweep the arms up. And exhale, right hand to right hip, left arm over, reaching again. So really opening up the side of the body. Maybe after doing this a few times, you feel a little bit more space created, open. Take that left arm down, inhale, sweep up. Exhale, left hand on right arm, reaching and reaching. And then release that down. So I'm coming up to the front of my mat to work on a few forward folds before I go to the other side. And I'm going to bring the blocks with me about a foot in front of me. So back and forth, rock back and forth onto your heels and toes a few times. So I always soften out the knees when I work on a few forward folds because I'm going to hinge at the hips. Flat back. So inhale, sweep up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. I'll let my hands catch the blocks. Your hands can catch your upper thighs or your calves, as long as they're not on the knees. So your gaze is a little bit past your mat. Breathing into the calves and the back of the hamstrings. Notice your jaw. Forward fold, soften as much as you need to in the knees. As you inhale, belly button in towards spine, sweep back up, reaching, and then exhale, just go straight back into it. So I feel a little bit of space created, so I'm going to take the blocks into a lower position. One more inhale. Exhale, release, and then soften the knees if you need to as you come back up, and release down. So one breath each cycle. We're going to do this 3 times. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Soften the knees, come back up. Inhale, reach, and exhale, right back over. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Again, soften. Need be, back up. And go ahead, back over. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. All the way back up. Release the hands down by the side. So last time, sigh it out so your jaw is really unhinged from your mouth. So you can take a deep inhale up, and you can take a deep exhale, sigh. Fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Come down onto your left knee and right knee. And now we're going to transition into bringing the left foot forward. So take a moment to adjust yourself. Make sure that knee is not over the toes. You're not hurting that, causing any discomfort, pain to that knee. And let your body and weight sink down. Tuck the back toe if you want an arch stretch. Bring that left hand to that left hip. Inhale that right arm up, and exhale, sway over to the left. And come back up. I'm going to do that sweeping, flowing movement. So arms down by your side. Inhale, sweep the arms forward, palms up. And then exhale, reverse palms. Start to bring those toes up. Start to straighten that leg. Move back and forth with this. slower you go with this, the more of a balancing act it is. So you'll notice that. Just do this 2 more times. And last time. And then come back up. I'm going to use the blocks again as a prop. And take the top of my foot, of my right foot down. I'm going to float my left toes up. Inhale here, deep inhale, exhale, hinge, hinge, hinge. So just find that sweet spot of tightness. You can breathe into and let go. Those toes pulled back. Deeper, deeper stretch. Soften the jaw. One more back here. And then we'll bend that knee. Bring that leg back. So we're going to go ahead and come back to seated again. Again, we use the blanket to prop up the hip. A little bit of detoxing, twisting. So you can always sit in a chair. You don't necessarily need to come down on the ground anytime you're doing this movements of seated. As you inhale, sweep the arms up, and as you exhale, take your left hand to left knee, above the left knee, and that right hand right back behind, right there in the center line of your tailbone. So keep tall in the spine, in the neck. Gaze can look out over that right hand if you're comfortable, or right shoulder. Breathing into this twist. And then slowly come back around. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, right hand to the outer part of the right knee, left hand back behind. Tall spine, tall neck. So don't worry how deep the depth is of your twist. Just don't lose the integrity of that beautiful spine and neck. Come back towards center. So go ahead, and if you have a strap handy, you can use that. We're going to bring ourselves into a wide straddle, and I am at this point going to come off of my blanket. And I'm probably going to go ahead and use the props of the blocks as well for this. Have your strap handy if you would like. So take a moment to let your body kind of adjust and settle into this side straddle. So if you feel this in your hamstrings, you want to really honor that. And in your inner thigh. So I have the block on the outer part of my right leg, and I have the left one on the left. So I'm going to inhale my left arm up, and I'm going to place, that way my hand can rest on that block. So again, reaching over that arm, coming towards that leg. Keep that foot flexed best you can. Breathing here. And come back. I'm gonna let my flexed foot catch that strap. So I'm twisting a bit and turning over that leg. Inhale here and exhale. I'm gonna hinge forward over that right leg with that strap flexed. And come back up. So other side. Inhale that right arm up. Exhale, swing over to the right. And I let my hand, my forearm rest on that block. Reaching. Soften the jaw. Make sure you're not holding. And come back up. Flex that left foot. I'm gonna let the strap catch. Turning, twisting over that left leg. Inhale here, exhale, hinge forward. Over that leg, best you can, breathing here. Start to feel that every exhale, that melting away, any tightness, any resistance. Up. I'm going to take the blocks in front of me, just like you do in a forward fold or a wide-legged side straddle fold. Inhale here, exhale, hinge, hinge, hinge. We use the blocks. Keep my feet flexed. Breathing here. Big stretch for the inner thigh. For the hips as well. So if you notice you start to tighten up in the glutes, release any tightness in there. Just mindfully tell yourself in an exhale, soften that space. If it's too much with your feet flexed, let them go. Just relax them. I'm gonna be here for 3 more big breaths. Together. Knees together, we're going to come onto our back. So after that type of stretch, it really feels lovely to bring your knees in towards your chest and a rock side to side. You can have your hands resting somewhere on your knees gently and take it into a circle. So you're massaging along that spine, that low back. And then other direction. And then it also feels good if you want to just rock and roll along the spine a few times. And then that's it. That's where I will end with you today. So I thank you very much for joining me on this class, and I hope it helped with creating some space, releasing some tightness in your body. So until next time, be kind to yourself, breathe.